Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today? Super late recording. Super late tactics, yeah? Super late recording today, mainly because I was just busy. Today was another D&D session day. Oh, it was a doozy, shall we say, this one. It was a big one. Which group was it? It was the slightly more chaotic group. And it was basically a sort of really big payoff session, or it's kind of like, because the past two sessions have been very much in sort of investigative work, and we'll get onto it in a second. Good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:55 p.m. on Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. But yeah, the past two sessions were basically like really heavy in the investigation and that sort of thing, and it was like a big old mystery. So certainly it probably felt a little unsatisfying, or like not as satisfying as it could be to play through. Whereas because most of the time it's just here are a load of questions, and here are more questions, here are things which don't make sense, and stuff like that. But this session was sort of like the payoff session, where it's like it all comes together and things are starting to get into place. And I don't know, I feel like it was a really great feeling when my players were just like like I'm trying to think how to not exactly spoil. I mean, it's not like there's a TV series or anything, but like my players were just like they basically met an NPC who they already met, and the stuff that the NPC was saying like wasn't making sense. It didn't like line up or anything like that, and they were just talking about just like, what is going on? Like this is like the third, fourth time that something really strange is happening, until and honestly like a natural 20 on a perception roll at one point, where I was just like, whoa, okay, crazy. Might as well just sort of give a much more deliberate sort of piece of vital clue, I suppose, to the entire thing, where, you know, everything starts falling into place. So having some of my players just be like, oh, so that's why that happened. It seems like it to be a very rewarding situation, to be perfectly honest, where they could finally put the pieces together of like, oh, this is why this has been happening. And then there was like a big old reveal which happened at the end of a session, which everyone just went, ah. And well, okay, maybe not that excitedly, more like, what? I knew it, sort of thing at the end, which I don't know, I guess that's a pretty, like, not to toot my own horn, that's a pretty rewarding feeling, I think, as a DM, because certainly the past two sessions I was just like, I don't know if it's really as fun as it could be, and like I'm not sure if my players are getting the clues, I'm not sure if like they'll put together exactly what's going on, I'm not sure if like this makes sense, I'm not sure if this is just unfun, because especially like they haven't had combat for like 3 sessions. Not to say that there wasn't the opportunity for combat, like combat would have been possible. It wouldn't be the most likely thing, and to be fair, because most of it was meant to be sort of like a mystery, like an investigative mystery, the chances of combat were not all that common, but they just didn't like have the combat. Like, the choices they make didn't lead to combat, so I was just like, okay, well then there's not going to be combat, like I'm not going to force it in here if it doesn't make sense for it to be. So now it's like a big payoff of all the sort of clues building up, and now the start of next session is going to probably be the hardest, well, hopefully it's going to be the hardest combat we've ever had, and I am excited for it in that sense, because I don't know necessarily what's coming. It's going to be, oh my god, I just realised, for Katrina, when she's saying her nonsense things, she's literally just talking backwards. I looked at it and I was like, oh, she's saying EHT, that looks like that, and then I read the next word and I couldn't see it, but it was like, it looks like crystal backwards, and I was like, oh my god, the penny just dropped. You know, it's the penny dropping moment that happened in the D&D session, as well as this as well. I almost tried to move my entire folder into the wrong thing. Hold on, I need to see what she says. I can't believe I never realised. Wait, did I just hallucinate? Does she not say that? Hold on. She definitely says something. Hold on. Ki ha moata. Okay. That stuff isn't. The crystal knows all. Oh my god, I never realised that's what she said. She just says the crystal knows all backwards. When she does her fortune. How has it taken me 4 years to realise this? That is honestly crazy. But anyway, that penny drop moment is just like fantastic, to be perfectly honest, I think, or like the sort of a grand revelation. Hopefully I can induce a similar sort of thing in the other group as well. I'm not sure, because it's hard to say, because this group's like mystery thing was very much more self-contained within one thing, so it's a lot easier to control all the factors. Well, the other group's mysteries are like a really like quite a long spanning thing. of things which are strange and don't necessarily add up. But it's like, I guess they're less strange in a, it's not, the way they're confusing is different, because in the second groups it was more like, it almost felt like reality was, it was like gaslighting, where it was just like, this literally like makes no physical sense, like from both an in-game universe standpoint and like a meta standpoint. But the other groups, mysteries, like it can make sense in universe standpoint, like nothing so far has been like, what, like I'm being gaslit or something. It was all like, oh, that could make sense, but I don't really know necessarily what's going on. So it's sort of like it's more sort of like a investigative mystery versus like a reality. No, I don't know how to describe it. That's not a terrible way to describe it. It's more like a discovery mystery versus a revelation mystery, I guess. Which, I don't know, hopefully there'll be some sort of like catharsis when they find out what's going on or what's causing XYZ and who exactly is on what allegiances on what side. I suppose it's even more flattering because one of my players has literally just messaged me. Like, this is a player who, honestly, I would have thought would be asleep by now, but messaged me just being like, I have a hot take, and then he's sent me his theory. I'm not going to say how close or how not close his theory may be to the truth or not, but it's certainly interesting. I think it certainly says high praise if your players are thinking about what is happening in universe outside the session. That's probably just like, you know, a mark of like, you've done well enough that people are now thinking about it actively, which is awesome. I mean, obviously, you know, I'm still a beginner DM, there's still like a lot for me to improve on, but the fact that it's happening in the first place is like it's nice, it's motivating, I suppose, in a sense. I mean, even if it didn't happen, I guess it'd be fine as well, but it's like another sort of stamp of approval, kind of. So yeah, honestly, like both sessions are now leading up to a very big thing. Like this group one session, as I've been calling them, the chaotic group, has a really big session next session, and group 2 will have a really big session either next session or the session after. I'm not necessarily sure. I think it's probably going to be next session though, where I think some pieces will start coming together, and both groups will probably be finishing up their Act 1 storyline soon. So I've started sort of telling in my head what like Act 2 storyline's going to be. I've got an idea for Group 1. I don't have a full idea for Group 2. And you might be like, that's a bit strange to say, like, having you got like all this lore set up. Like, yeah, technically I know like what the big overarching act, like motivations and lore thing is, but you know, you got to find the right sort of scaling upwards to make sure it makes sense. I certainly have some ideas though. It's just sort of, I need to pick what direction I think makes the most sense to go in. Because maybe Act 2 might be a character plotline. We'll see. But it's more like bringing it up naturally. Because, you know, Act 1 is much more of a general sort of plotline to get everyone in the know with each other. And then the future acts can be like actual more character specific, because now the characters trust each other, etc, etc, etc. It will certainly be quite the interesting one, I think. But yeah, I don't know, what other sort of like really great penny drop moments have there been in things I played? And like I've probably Amari. I'm not going to spoil Amari or any of these games, but the penny drop moment for Amari was crazy. Like, I mean, you could watch my literal let's play of it, and you can see how hard not how hard I'm denying it necessarily, but how much I'm just like, no way is this right. Like, not in the sense that like this doesn't make sense, but in the sense that it's like, I can't believe this is the reality. It is crazy, as like an absolutely crazy revelation. The thing with like penny drop moments though, at least that I'm thinking from a perspective of a DM, it's actually quite hard to, I think, get them right necessarily, because one, every single person is different, so like each person is going to have a different level of investment of keeping track of what's going on and understanding what's going on and thinking stuff like that. And even if that is true, it tends to be the group working together collaboratively, so they have people to bounce off ideas. Like, 4 people, you know, as they say, many heads are better than one, or 2 heads are better than one. Too many cooks spoil the broth, certainly, but like, I mean, with the numbers of 3 and 4 players, it's definitely not too many cooks in this situation. It's very much a sort of, oh, they have enough people to bounce ideas off of, and like, if someone forgets something, someone else will probably remember it and see how it adds up, or how it doesn't add up necessarily. But that's just like I suppose the biggest worry I have is to get to the end of the revelations, the penny drop moments of that sort of thing, and then one of my players go like, hold on, this doesn't make sense because of X, Y, Z, and then I'll just be like, no, it's a plot hole because of something I randomly improvised one of the sessions, which I didn't mean to, because I just had to think of something to fill the gap. No. Which is why, you know, I say I'm a bit more worried about Group 2's revelation more than Group 1's, is because Group 2's is much larger spanning, a much larger scale, while Group 1's is more self-contained within the place they're in. It's a lot easier to control the factors. There's certainly a few things I definitely had to improvise for Group 2's stuff, which hopefully has not messed things over, but we'll I guess that's something I'll find out, not sooner or later, but at some point. But yeah, I don't know, what other penny drop moments have been like really cool? I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of penny drop moments actually, like these plot twist moments, I suppose I know, despite the fact I have not consumed a media property they're from. The Star Wars one, of course, I think is the most famous one, which everybody knows, and I knew it even before I watched Star Wars as like a property. You know, like you might be like, when was the first time you watched Star Wars? I think it was in sixth form or older than sixth form. Is whenever Star Wars Episode 7 first came out, or no, it was like the day before. That's when I watched, but a couple of days before I watched Star Wars Episode 4, 5, and 6. So I actually saw the grand revelation of spoilers, I suppose, for Star Wars Episode 6, where no, I am your father occurred, which I will certainly say I didn't, you know, I feel like most people when they heard that, probably like for the first time, just went, what? And just like lost their mind. For me, obviously, it's something which I already knew, so I guess I didn't have that grand revelation where I could just be like, whoa, that's crazy, no way, sort of thing. But yeah, I think that would have been a cool moment. I know there's certainly one in The Good Place, which I've not seen, but I've just like heard about sort of passively from people talking about it. What else? I don't know. To the Moon has a sort of like a big one, which I was just like, what? But not like in a like a bad way. It was more like, oh no, everything's adding up and it's really sad sort of way. Like we sort of fridge brilliance moments of something like a really tiny detail, which you just go, oh, everything makes sense now. Or like, this explains everything. Steam FPS best. Oh, no wonder. That's why Siege was on sale. Oh yeah, we started playing Rainbow Six Siege with friends as another game to play. You know, I said I had an itching for some shooters. So Valorant, which we played again since. I actually did way better this time in Valorant than I did the previous time. I don't know. I think it clicked in my head actually how to shoot. And Siege, we played a little bit. We didn't. I will say we didn't really get into the meat and potatoes of why Siege is such a good game yet. Mainly because we were doing a lot of training. Because my friends were like not quite high enough level to actually play. But then it turns out we could actually play one of the modes. I just didn't realize it. It's really weird because you can play the regular like draft. It's not called draft pick, but I can't remember what it's called. The regular sort of mode with no level restrictions, but you can't play quick play with level restrictions. So you can't play the arcade mode, which seems bizarre. Like, surely you would want it the other way around. Like, why? That doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. So the first time we played like an actual proper like normal person versus person match, I got a bug in the second round because I tried to apparently stream on Discord while in the drone phase. It crashed my Siege, and then it just wouldn't let me reconnect. Every time I tried to reconnect, it said you've been disconnected and kicked from the session, and I was like, what? So which is, by the way, it's never happened to me in Siege before. Anytime I have disconnected, I've been able to reconnect, but this is the first, and I felt like it very much was a sad experience because I, you know, obviously I couldn't like teach things. I couldn't say, oh, this is like XYZ, like let's do something like that the first time we're against players. But hopefully, you know, I felt like my friends had a decent enough time to at least give it another chance, and hopefully we can actually have that proper playing as a group session. But we played Valorant after as well because I couldn't reconnect. I got like a leaver penalty, which was like 1 hour, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, Siege is not really my fault. It's kind of your fault, Ubisoft, because you didn't let me reconnect to it. Sorry, Ubisoft Montreal. You didn't really. I mean, obviously, it's not like they had a personal vendetta against me or something. But anyway, sorry, penny drop moments. What I was going to do is I was going to look at my Steam library and see what games I played and what had like a sort of penny drop moment where I was like, oh, I don't know. Amari is going to be one which I think lives with me for the rest of my life, where I'm just like, what? Crazy. Doki Doki Literature Club was a pretty crazy one as well, actually. Oh, Hatterful Boyfriend. That actually surprisingly has a crazy sort of like penny drop moment. Hatterful Boyfriend, like, it's a parody like visual novel dating sim game, but it has actually like a crazy sort of lore behind it, which if you ever get the chance to play, I would highly recommend it. I think it's both incredibly well. Okay, I would recommend it if you're at least somewhat familiar with visual novel-esque sort of tropes, or like anime-esque tropes, because then you can sort of appreciate the parody it's going for, rather than just being like, what is going on? I don't know why this character's being so weird. And you'd be like, oh, this character's meant to be like this trope, or this character's meant to be this trope. And then you just get to like the lore moments, and I'm just like, what? Oh, Oxenfree is a really good one as well. That's a crazy sort of like penny drop moment. I can't really like, I mean, I don't think it's really spoilers to say this has like a moment where all the pieces come together, because honestly most stories kind of do have a moment where things come together. What about an anime you watch, like Odd Taxi? I mean, Odd Taxi is like maybe one of my favorite animes of all time. I'm not sure if it really has like a well, maybe it's got a sort of definitive a couple of definitive penny drop moments, but I think kind of like the best thing about Odd Taxi is not those penny drop moments, but the way that everything is basically a Chekhov's gun. Everything is relevant eventually, which is just the craziest thing ever. Portal 2's got, well, I'm not sure if it's a penny drop moment, but it's got a very funny moment, which I'm going to absolutely spoil because this game is like 15 years old or something. But, you know, when, of course, you attach Wheatley to Gladys's body, and Wheatley, being the lovable scamp he is, but grossly incompetent, it turns out he was on purposely designed to be grossly incompetent, and was basically meant to be an inhibitor of a very psychopathic Gladys. And then, oh my god, Portal 2 has actually got like a really hilarious moment, which I love. We're like, oh no, I think this is a part where he's going to kill us. And you land, this is a part where he's going to kill you. Chapter, the part where he kills you. Achievement got, this is that part, the part where he's going to kill you. Oh, you know what I'm talking about if you play that game. Yeah, to the moon I said. Undertale. Undertale has, like, I guess also kind of one as well, but I kind of already knew about it before I played, just because Undertale was so ubiquitously everywhere. Lots of people just talked about Undertale and like just wouldn't spoiler things, and I was like, alright. And to be fair, I wouldn't have actually played Undertale until I heard about the fact that, you know, it was more than that meets the eye, to be perfectly honest, so. What else? Beacon Pines, I guess, has a plot twist. Not a crazy one. Chicken Police? I honestly don't even remember the plot of Chicken Police all that well. I just remember the characters. Wow, I've played a lot of story games, huh? Great story games. Omarion. Still fantastic. Lakoen? I guess so. But Lakoen's is kind of like a bit strange because I very much figured it out, I think, before we got to it, right? Or maybe I didn't, I don't know. Our Tangle Tower is like the opposite of a penny drop moment. It's more like a penny pick up moment. Where it's just like nothing. You find out the truth behind it and it doesn't make any sense. And you're like, what? What does this mean? Absolutely nonsensical plot with the most fantastically engaging, colourful cast of characters I've seen. Anyway, I think on that note, I'm going to round this episode off here. Do I have an episode coming out tomorrow? I really hope I've recorded something in advance. Tomorrow is Paradise Killer Day, right? I think I need to record at Okami. Okay, I do. I just need to title it. Okay, well, I'll do that just now. So, if you haven't been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.